Do you think we need an LRT stop here? Do you think the seniors, the people with disabilities, a single mom needs an LRT stop here? A picture on the left is us. There's 24,000 people right here. Picture on the right is Bristol. About 700 people live there. What do you think is missing in that picture? No LRT. No LRT for Tucana Court. No LRT for Acorn Place.
Who's from the Tucana Court or 50 Kingsbridge area? Put your hands up. There you go. That's I expected that. You guys are always here. This is the biggest community, the biggest single community along here, Ontario. And we're here to fight for us, for our inclusion, for our access, for our fairness, and for our safety surrounding this LRT station. Why else do you think there should be a mass transit station? A nexus, so the answer is a nexus of major arteries. So when I hear that, I think of connecting other transit systems together. So that's very important. There are several, about a dozen different stations along Kingsbridge that pick up everybody along the way and that funnel out to here, Ontario. So looking at the My Way ridership, there are over 1,000 people a day that take My Way along Kingsbridge. Great answer. So the gentleman over here says to be independent, to not be secluded, to not be isolated. Like, let's connect ourselves to the city, and that's the whole purpose that we're fighting for, is for fairness, for access to this transit system so we can be part of Mississauga, so we can be part of this wonderful new multi-billion-dollar line that's coming in. There's hundreds of people that both live here, thousands that go to the Coalition for Persons with Disabilities. Their head office is right there. Over 1,000 people annually with disabilities go there to seek support, employment services, and they depend. This isn't a convenience item, my friends. This is something they depend upon. They depend on the services there. And I want to touch on it a bit later about the struggles that Metrolinx is putting them through to get here, and that's just not right. I have access to healthcare. The most important thing for me, for you, for everybody is our own health. There are 11 different medical specialists there. So about a dozen different medical specialists. You can see Oxford, the MRI clinic, one of the only independent ones aside from a hospital. You have the pharmacy there, you have the walk-in clinic. You have a dozen different medical specialists. So to have access to this is more than just Kingsbridge. This is for all of Mississauga too. The business building as well. The highest users of public transit are students and business people. If you take the GO train, the busiest times are in the morning and at night around business hours. There's a business building here, 150,000 square feet of office space. They're the highest users of public transit. Why wouldn't you put it there for that reason as well? So here we have Mineola. This is one of the stations that is approved that's going ahead. This is one of the lowest density areas in not just Mississauga, but all of the GTA. I drive past this. Metrolinx thinks this is a good location for a stop, and just a little fun fact, this station is 620 meters away from Port Credit, so it's very close. If you look at the right, it's tough to see. We're in low density, single dwelling homes in one of the most affluent areas in Mississauga. So to put a station here, I don't understand why they do it. There's no high density residential, there's no high density commercial. They're driving by, there are a few medical, I think there's a massage parlor around there and a chiropractic house, but I mean, not the 12 different specialties right here. So how on earth is there a station at Mineola as opposed to somewhere else? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Metrolinx is, by their actions, telling us that we don't matter, that people with disabilities don't matter, and that our safety doesn't matter. And that's why I'm here, and that's why we are all here fighting today. Because what is happening is not right. We need a station here for our access to this system for the fairness of our community, and for the safety of our friends and family. The statistics are there for the density. We here are over 12,000 people, 12,430. Sir Lou Ray Lawson is about 7,000 people. They don't have the business buildings that we do, the business density. They don't have the medical like we do. They don't have the people with disabilities that are here or the elderly. But yet there are two stations that are less than 500 meters apart. So you know what, Metrolinx? Don't tell me that Kingsbridge is too close to Eglinton, because that is BS. This is what they told me. They said, oh, you know what, it's too close to the 403. You know what, I'm sorry. It's the highway's right there. We can't do it. It's too close to the highway. I don't have to go far to prove their lies. It's unbelievable. We look at the Hurontario LRT line, and the North Service Road is 220 meters from the QEW. How far are we? If Kingsbridge was there, it'd be over 400 meters away. So about double than what they're saying. And also a fun little fact, there's another station north of the North Service Road, which is 510 meters, which is also closer than what I'm proposing Kingsbridge is from Eglinton. If you're going to develop an LRT station, if you're basing it on a balanced scorecard approach, there's not a station or location better than Kingsbridge along the Hurontario LRT line. If you had to start from scratch, this is the #1 location to put a stop because of the density, because of the business use, because of the medical use, because of people with disabilities, and because of the elderly. And because of the most important thing, my friends, is because Kingsbridge matters. I'm here because this is wrong, and I know this is wrong, and I, for one, am not going to give up on this fight for our community, for our future, and for our safety.
So to me, it comes down to three simple evidence-based ideas, which is density, safety, and accessibility. And Grant did an excellent job at explaining each and every one of those today, so I won't reiterate. Accessibility to healthcare services is something that I take extremely seriously. And as a nurse that works in the emergency room, I see how fragmented our healthcare system is as it is. And this is another issue of accessibility. As Grant has mentioned, thousands of patients access the medical building and the medical services yearly. So for them not to have an access and a stop that they would easily be able to reach those services is simply, there's no excuse for that.
And this project for Kingsbridge Station will cost $850,000. The total cost is $1.4 billion. The project is estimated to be completed in 2022. And like all projects, the cost is going to go up. There are 10,000 residents who depend on the Kingsbridge LRT station stop. Acorn Place, Tucana Court, and Kingsbridge Garden Circle. Within 200 meters of Kingsbridge Station, and there's vacant land scheduled to be developed on Elia and Sorrento that will add another 10,000 residents.
And this project that we're all here to discuss today, the LRT project, is a Liberal project. It is a Liberal commitment, a Liberal promise to bring $1.4 billion project of the LRT here in Mississauga. I stand behind the project. It's a commitment made by the Liberal government. We have so much work to continue to do, and the point that we're here to discuss, besides the pancakes that I didn't see, is the accessibility and the stop here at the LRT. I think this is crucial. I think it's crucial for everything that we've mentioned here, for accessibility and everyone that's vulnerable in these buildings, and just a convenience. There's a huge population here that the study should have indicated that we should have got a stop here. So we have to definitely go back to the drawing board. Metrolinx has to go back to the drawing board for this stop and initiate it.
One of my area of most expertise was disability issues. So over 20 years, I spoke to people with physical disabilities, people from all walks of life and with all kinds of experiences. I wrote a lot about wheelchair sports. I wrote about women in disability and the special issues that women face. I became, just first out of interest, but then out of just speaking to dozens and dozens and dozens of people, I became an expert on accessibility, but also not an expert from the outside, but like, to me, accessibility is built into everything I think about, and anything that happens, I think, is this accessible. It's one of the reasons I chose the library profession because we are all about making services accessible.
Very important to have LRT stop here because I come here very often, and for me to take if there are less buses and if there's no stop over here, for me to get down at Eglinton and come back is very difficult. Difficulties are that actually more is towards winter. Winter will be a very problem because the sideways are not clean, and to walk with the wheelchair on that is very slippery, and sometimes you get stuck in the snow. And when you get stuck in the snow and no one is there to push you around, it's a hard time for anyone to be going through that part of it.